we were all talking about Sarah Palin and Rudy Giuliani's speech and the use of community organizer, which Barack Obama did in Chicago. They said it in a very derisive way, mocking his years as if that was giving him experience. And Byron, Philip Hoover writes, a lot has been made of Obama's community organizer experience. What is a community organizer? You want to take that one?
Oh, sure. I mean, I've done a number of stories about community organizers in places like Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore. In most instances, community workers are grassroots people, people who work on the street. The suggestion that some people took from Palin's reference to it yesterday was that it was sort of code word, code language that about inner city people, about blacks. But the reality is that community workers work certainly with minorities, people in the city, the poor, the elderly, with people who have drug issues. So it is part of Obama's campaign is that he is a grassroots guy, that he'll win this election from the grassroots. And that's the audience that he appeals to. The suggestion was in the way that Palin and Giuliani used it yesterday, as if it was something wrong with being a community worker. In fact, we talked to a couple of Republicans here who are community workers back in their cities, and some of them took offense at the way that Palin as well as Giuliani used that phrase yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to duck out now. Maybe you guys can continue talking about it, because we talked about it for some time, how it sort of was a separation between rural and urban voters. But thank you guys so much. I had so much fun.
Let me just talk about this community organizer thing and get you in on this, Mike. I've got to tell you, I did not like that when she said that, and I'll tell you why. I don't like it when people make fun of poor people. Maybe community organizers, maybe their work is needed, maybe it isn't, but these are people, I think it is, that are working with poor people. And when people sort of laugh, when people talk about it, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
They're not making fun of the poor people, but they are making fun of the position. And Republicans have really picked up on this. We had a breakfast panel with Karl Rove this morning, and he was using it in the same very sarcastic way. And as Byron suggested, it's very much an us versus them thing. Community organizers are what they have. And it's a sort of vague, abstract, almost you can't make it up, sort of liberal term, and community is just not a term that you use out in sort of red state excerpts.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this is one of those phrases or terms that somebody's gone out and done a focus group on to see how people react to it when you say it? I mean, we know that both parties do that. Now, my Republican friends tell me no way, no how. They wouldn't do this, but I'm just wondering about it.
Well, it's a great question, but what we do know is it has struck a chord because people are picking up on it, and they're using it as a new and pretty clever way to really sort of try and puncture the Obama balloon. Another way to say the empty suit thing.
We need to give Dan Bartlett, I guess, a chance to respond to this, Dan, because you do not believe this was some market-tested scheme.
I appreciate and let me enter in as one of those former evil Republican strategists. I can assure you that there was no slight being intended with regards to the nobility of being a community worker. The point Republicans and the McCain campaign are trying to make is that as they came out and started attacking Governor Palin's experiences, they're saying, wait a minute, this guy's got one of the thinnest resumes who's ever run for president, and to say that, a community organizer is more credentialed, somebody who's been a community organizer is more credentialed to lead the executive branch of the United States of America is laughable. But it's not to say that the work itself and the people that it's impacting is not noble.
He's saying
would you have done it, Dan Bartlett, if you'd been running this campaign? Would you have advised Rudy Giuliani to use this?
Well, I think one reason why Rudy Giuliani didn't win the nomination is because he doesn't listen to advisors. But I would say that I think the bigger weakness in his resume is the fact that he was a college professor. And I apologize to anybody online here who's a college professor, but I think if you want to really detach him from the typical Joe or Mary out there in middle America, I would have been repeating the fact that he was a college professor at every moment I had.
Well, there seems to be somebody standing next to you there listening very carefully to what you're saying. Joe, what's your response?
I just can't believe he just kept saying over and over again, community organizer and doing that. But no, I kind of think that they wanted to do what Dan's talking about and then just didn't see that there might be some other overtones to that, and it might be seen as a put down by people.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
There's a funny thing about this, though. The whole community organizing ethos, which began really in the 1960s, was a local power movement. Now, it was on the left, but the idea was that the federal government was too big, too unresponsive, and you needed to build power from the bottom up, which in many terms is a classic Republican idea.